Hello, welcome back to another episode from Pale Horse Survival and Tactical. Today I'm going to talk about a wild edible and medicinal called chickweed. And just ran across this great little patch here, real healthy looking. And it's real easy to identify. It always has these little white flowers. These flowers are actually 5-petaled, and each petal is split, giving the appearance of 10 flower petals. And you can see the little, these little flower heads here. Always has these little balls, these little flower heads. The leaves are spaced oppositely on the stem as opposed to alternate. And as with any wild edibles, don't eat anything unless you're absolutely sure, and have a positive identification. And also when you're foraging for wild edibles, I would avoid roadsides and places where they're typically sprayed with herbicides, car exhaust along roadsides. You get a lot of pollution and stuff, and the plants tend to soak that up. So be very cautious as to where you harvest your edibles from. And go ahead and read some information here on this. Chickweed is a wild edible green leafy plant that grows most predominantly throughout Europe and North America, but is native to a variety of temperate locations all over the world. It is one of the top most common weeds because its seeds are easily transported, making their way to most any moist, partially shaded section of earth. Typically found growing in large patches in early spring, it is a cool weather species that often thrives all year long when conditions are optimal. It is one of those wild edibles that frequently goes unrecognized because of its small, delicate leaves that look a bit different than other edible leafy plants. Compared to larger leaved versions like dandelions, grape leaves, and miner's lettuce, common chickweed can seem rather insignificant. However, these hardy, resilient, inconspicuous-looking plants usually make up for their size, with large patches of growth literally cover an entire hillside. In addition, the entire plant is consumed as a food source, not just the leaves. The stems, which are usually cut at the base of the plant, can be harvested with the leaves and flowers into large bunches and can be juiced, lightly steamed, or blended into green smoothies. As a leafy vegetable, it is very nutritious and high in minerals, vitamins, and other nutrients, some of which include calcium, iron, niacin, selenium, GLA, thiamine, as well as antioxidants, vitamin C, and beta-carotene. Wild chickweeds are one of nature's top superfoods for purifying the blood and lymphatic system. These properties are directly responsible for its well-known effects as an herbal skin healer. Taken both internally and applied topically, it is excellent for rashes, itchiness, or most any skin disorder. Its demulcent skin smoothing qualities, especially when consumed in blended drinks, are also useful as a natural laxative. Holding a long-lived history within European herbalism, the plant has been used by many herbalists throughout the ages as a folk remedy for skin diseases, pulmonary ailments, PMS, and arthritic pain. There are a number of different types of chickweed, all coming from the genus Stellaria. Stellaria media is the main species consumed as food and used medicinally, but there are other varieties that are often identified by a slightly coarser, hairier textured stem and leaves. Stellaria media is a low-growing annual measuring about 3 to 12 inches tall, forming large mats of greens that can be easily take over the landscape when ideal conditions make it possible. These areas may include meadows, fields, disturbed areas, gardens, hillsides, foothills, and coastal locations. The seeds reseed themselves every year, with the seedlings emerging in early spring. Chickweed growth can last for many months, or depending on where you live, it may actually grow all year long, providing it doesn't get too hot or dry. The plant needs adequate rainfall and moist soils with partial sunlight to maintain or extend its life cycle. Chickweed's tiny leaves are somewhat succulent with an oval shape and pointed tip that are approximately 1.5 inch to 1 inch, 1 to 2.5 inches long, Its 5-petaled white flowers look like tiny stars and are commonly in bloom for many months. In fact, the Latin word stellaria, which means star, is referring to the flower's shape. It's always important that you positively identify all wild edible greens before you eat them, as there are many poisonous plants and lookalikes. Chickweed is known to grow by some poisonous varieties, so it's important to take heed and be cautious. It is also imperative to use a wild edible plant guide for identification purposes if you're unsure or unclear about what you are wildcrafting. To harvest wild chickweed, snip off the top 6 inches or so by bunching it together and cutting it at the base with clippers. It is a good idea to pick through your greens to make sure you don't have grass or other inedible plant material mixed in. Please like, subscribe, share, and as always, we will see you on the next one. We're going to do some more videos on wild edibles here shortly as we run across them. Everybody have a good day. Bye-bye.